My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of 9 Days. This movie premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2020, so for almost 2 years, I've heard about how amazing this movie is. I was really looking forward to it, and I just finally watched it, and I have to say, I hated it. I think this is one of the worst movies I've seen all year. This movie's about a man who's now a guardian angel, and he watches these lives on Earth, and after one life that he was in charge of died, he decides to hold interviews for the next life he sends down to Earth. So if that sounds like a high concept premise, it's because it is, but it's also one that I had zero attachment to. And it's also one that had no reason being a feature length movie. This premise could have been 10 to 15 minutes, and I'd be like, okay, I guess that was alright. But at 2 hours long, this premise is stretched way too thin. The movie is way too dragged out, and it is way too insufferably boring. At no point did this movie grab you. At no point was I entertained or engaged or even intrigued to what was going on. It's a movie that I found to be completely empty, and the beats of this story are just so repetitive. This movie thinks it's this huge, thought-provoking, ambitious movie about life that will change the way people view this world. And this movie is definitely not that. I'm going to use my favorite story as an example, but The Last of Us Part 2 is a story about life. It's about love and the joy it can give you and the pain it can also give you when taken away. It's about regret and guilt of things you didn't do in your life and how you try to cope with that and how you try to be better. It's a story about the human condition in every single possible way. It's a movie that encapsulates life in all of its meaning so perfectly. And at no point in that game does Ellie or anyone say, well, this is just what life is, right? No, because the game is better than that. It's smarter than that. It has depth. It has nuance. And everything in this movie is at surface level. It tells you exactly what it's about time and time again, while at the same time being completely understated to a fault. No one shows any sorts of emotions in this movie. It's just watching these bland, boring characters talk about things in the most straightforward way. That kind of stuff doesn't interest me. It's trying to tell you, oh, appreciate the small things in life. And yes, that's a good message, but I've seen it done better in so many other movies. There's a movie that came out in 2013 called About Time. Wonderful, underrated movie. And it's about how he should enjoy life for what it is, the ups and the downs, enjoy the small things. But it's also a very romantic movie, it's very charming, it's very funny, and it's a movie that's entertaining from start to finish, which is way more than I can say about this movie. And yet it says all the same things. So why would I ever revisit this movie that just says things in a surface level kind of way, thinking it's this movie filled with depth and nuance and being relentlessly boring, when I could just get all the same things that anyone could get from this movie from About Time? I know it's not always fair for me to compare movies, but it's just when a movie's trying to do the exact same thing that another movie did, but in a more boring way, I just have no interest in ever revisiting this movie. I'll never think about this movie again. And all the performances just did nothing for me. Winston Duke is a talented actor. His performance here, I'm sure he did exactly what the director told him to, but it's understated to a fault. Benedict Wong is maybe the best performance in this movie, even though he's still not great. He's not given a ton to do. Zazie Beetz, I don't care for her as an actress. I didn't like her in this movie. I didn't like her in The Harder They Fall. I guess she was good in Deadpool 2, but I've yet to be really impressed by her. Bill Skarsgård and Tony Hale are good actors, and I guess they'll find this movie, but they don't really bring anything new to it. This movie's just lacking in personality, it's lacking in energy, and it's this movie that thinks it's so much more profound than it actually is. And the last 5-10 minutes of this movie I found to be incredibly cringy. It's this long poem, this long monologue, whatever you want to call it, and I guess it's actually a real life poem that existed before this movie, but Winston Duke's just reading it in this super dramatic way, and it's just, I found it to be incredibly cringy. And also the entire character of Zazie Beetz, she's meant to be the good soul, the person that you want to go to Oz. But at no point did I actually feel that way. Like, there's this question that he asks all these different people or souls, and it's pretty much, okay, you're at a concentration camp, you just tried to escape and you got caught, and now they're gonna hang your kid, and they tell you to pull the chill, and if you don't, then they still kill your kid and they shoot everyone else out. What do you do? And everyone's answering the question, and Zazie Beetz is just like, why would they do that? Why are these men bad? What's going on? And I feel like the movie thinks that's supposed to change my whole view of the question. But it didn't. I'm just like, really? That's supposed to be the hook with Soul character? I found it to be incredibly lacking. If I was to give this movie any positives, there's two scenes. One involving a bike and one involving the beach. And they do capture a certain magic in those two scenes. But that aside, I hated this movie. I found it to be dreadfully boring. It's nowhere near as smart or as emotional as it thinks it is. It's way too long. It lacks any sort of personality or life. It's not thought-provoking. It just did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. I'm glad some people got some enjoyment from this movie, but this was one I despised. So I'm going to go ahead and give 9 Days a 1 out of 10. Okay, have you seen 9 Days? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon in Gavin.